Would you say that the language that it is something that, how do I put this? When I got into the SB 1200 era of Miami bass, that was the key to me. That was what made the music relevant, or not just relevant, but everyone said it's just booty music, it's just booty shake music. I said, no, there's a language there. What's being sampled? What's being scratched? Why would you scratch that? Why would you scratch this following that mixed with that? To me, there's a language that you had to be hyper-referential. You had to be encyclopedic about it.
Exactly. Every sample would reference another sample, and you would take you on a journey through the whole song, you know?
And it almost became a quest for me to find out who else spoke that language.
Making lyrics, making rhymes with your samples from two different songs, taking a sample from a certain record that says dog, and then taking like Planet Rock or one of the African Bambaataa records that are saying woof, woof. So now you're like multiple layering different things, different samples, but it means something at the end, you know, after you piece it all together.
This is mine, right?
Good. I got this.
You got these.
I got those.
You get some shrimp if you want, bro.
We have one napkin
I
between
did
us.
before I left, man.
No, but if you want to go back to how I started, 12 years old, man. There was my aunt. I used to live in Havana, and my aunt lived up by Westchester, not Westchester, New York, Westchester, Miami. Then there was a block party going on. And that's the first time I heard a DJ scratch. The first time I saw, you know, just people enjoying it. It was Miami bass music. It was Two Live Crew was in there. It was a song. Roll it up, my nigga.
Success and Effect.
There you go. Was that? But just, you know, just stuff that was current around that time. And then from there, I just kept at it. By the time I was 14, 15, I had a nice little arsenal of records. I would buy all my records in Carjul. I used to live on 17th and 7th, and I'd ride my bike. And it was in Carlos, right? Carlos, man, rest in peace. He used to always, you know, arms open, help you out. Like, yo, I'm short $5, man. I really want that record. Like, if you're buying, you know, 4 or 5 records, then he would help you, you know. So it was a cool vibe, and I built up my arsenal. And then by the time I was like 18, 19, I was DJing at the beach, mainly hip hop, all that stuff. And then I did the Spanish thing. Then I did the TV thing. I'm working that as a career. And then while I was figuring out the career and all that stuff, I was working at CBS, and then around that time is when I hooked up with
because you came from the hip hop world into
the hip hop world, and then like my arm had already, like, when I first learned how to scratch, it was over Miami bass music. I was learning how to scratch over. It was what was it? I had a Dynamics 2, an acapella on it, but it was Breezy Beats acapella. It's just give the DJ a break, but it was just to give the DJ, it was a little piece, and it had Scratch D's, the little, what do you call those?
Give the DJ a break.
Just give it, so dance break, I said, give DJ a break, and then I just grabbed that part. Take a break, and that's like one of the first ones I was like, if you grab that record, I still have it, and you listen to that part, when you get to that part that he says break, it goes, break!
Didn't that have
that thing has a dent. It has a dent.
On the side or something like that?
which one?
Not on a 12-inch for that one.
No, that was
a B-side of Rival of Bass.
Was that on the single?
That's what it was. Rival of Bass.
Oh,
Rival of Bass and Purple Beats were the single, which Alex Weir rapped on the remixes of those. Yeah, Travis J. When you say you came from a hip hop background, that's hard for me to understand, because when I think of, well, first of all, the problem is we start getting into the different definitions of hip hop and how you separate it from bass. But for me, when we think about hip hop, I think about 1993 New York. Obviously, that's probably not your era.
No.
So what do you mean?
I think hip hop in general should incorporate Miami bass, because hip hop in general is just a culture, you know. So Miami bass music is part of that culture. So when I say hip hop, I include
Miami bass is hip hop. It's street music. It was influenced. They were rapping. They were breaking. They were DJing. It's hip hop, but it's the South version of hip hop because of the way they were living their life down here.
Now, how do you compare that to Outkast?
Outkast they were still rapping. They still had beats. The earlier stuff was a lot more street than the stuff that they're putting out now. That's for sure. Players Ball and
Players balls and shit.
That, that was street stuff. That wasn't like the stuff that they're putting out now that's tend to be a little bit more commercial. Still have a little bit of the roots in there, but they've evolved into who they are now. But they started off as very street.
But what I'm saying is, you made the point that Miami bass is Southern hip hop, but Outkast obviously came to represent Southern hip hop and usher in Goody Mob, 8 Ball and MJG, 3-6 Mafia, Master P, and this became the Dirty South, as they say.
Yeah.
And Miami bass is nowhere to be found at until Manny Fresh reemerges. So, can you elaborate when you say Miami bass is the South's hip hop? Why do you think there's another South's hip hop, or why did that one eclipse the other?
Well, they went ahead and
I
took
think-
that 808. They took the 808 sound and went ahead and made it Atlanta.
Well, let me just, I mean, I know I've said this, I think I've said it to each of you individually. I may have even drunkenly said it on camera before, but I certainly want to make sure it's clear today. I'm drinking Pepsi right now. There are very few people, I think, that understand the language that we spoke. They understand the feel or the surface value of it all, but you guys are one of just a small handful that get it from the new school and brought it into the new school, do it in a new school way, but keep alive the actual language from the new school. And I really wanted to hear more about your thoughts on the language, because you speak it. And then again, encyclopedic.
That whole language is like a railroad track. It's like the 808 is a railroad track, and you have this blank canvas, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can make 808 tracks, just an instrumental alone. It's any type of feel. It could be a dark electro song, it could be a happy bass song. It's all what you put on top of it. But that language is that rhythmic 808, the kick drum, the bass, the snares, the tight snares, the hi-hats,
Pitching of the
spitting
bass, all
hard.
that, man.
So in other words, even the tuning of the drums is its
Oh,
own
yeah,
genre.
man.
Tweaking them, pitching them.
All those bass rolls and
You could do anything you want on top of it. So it's almost like a train track, and you're putting different trains on there. You're connecting them in every which way. As long as there's a hook, you connect to it.
That's
Keep
what
moving.
that's what scratch comes out. That scratch.
we had a little
part of the
structure though.
language.
We had a little structure format of our own making those tracks. You know, we just kind of not invented it, but I mean,
You
pretty much
developed
did our
it.
own thing. We didn't follow any cookie cutter, diagrams of how to make a mega mix or how to make bass. We just went by what we knew, and we felt it, and we just did it.
It's all mathematics too.
Yeah,
the
it's
way
all-
the way you lay everything out.
4s and 8s and 16s, and that's
32
it, man.
sometimes, and
Yeah.
And a breakdown should equal 1 or 2, that kind of
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
You have the music cut off, and you build back up, and you drop it on them, and you come back, and you drop it on them again for the last time, the nastiest time at the end. You save up all your good samples for that last drop, and you just, man, it's nothing better than that, man. That last drop in the club, just chilling. You build up to that point, and then the crowd speaks the language when you drop it on them.